beautiful muses. Welcome to CosmoMuse Tarot and another reading. Today we are doing just kind of like a quick check-in with your subconscious to get a message that it is wanting to bring up to the surface. So I have used this deck. It's called the Nocturna Oracle, and it uses things that come out or thrive in the nighttime. So I have 4 piles here, and you certainly can pick more than one pile if you would like. If you feel like there's multiple subconscious messages that you're being drawn into. So pile 1, we've got Tide Pool. Pile 2, we have Coral Snake. Pile 3, the Mountain Lion. And pile 4 with Moonstone. Okay, for those of you that have your own way for picking piles, you can pause here and then go to the timestamps in the descriptions. For everyone else that likes the breath work I do to help you get into a good space for really feeling connected to piles and trusting your intuition and whatnot, we will jump into that now. So place your feet firmly on the ground. And then take a deep breath down into your body to really ground into and embody into yourself and feel that weight of yourself against the earth, feeling of being held, kind of a calming energy coming in. And then exhale. And now take a deep breath in, and this time suck the air up, up, up into the space between your brows. Hold it there. Suck in a little bit more to add pressure at that third eye center. And now out loud, exhale, opening up your crown chakra. And now gaze over these piles and see which one or ones are drawing you in, and those will be your message or messages. All right, I'll see you in your readings. Hello, pile 1. So let's check in with your reading all about what your intuition, what your subconscious wants to bring up for you to give you a message about. So you picked this Tide Pool card, and this has everything to do with kind of the ebb and flow of life. And so your subconscious is wanting you to know that even though things may feel like they're in an ebb right now where the tide has gone out, in sort of, rocky shore areas, when the tide goes out, there's these little pockets between those rocky areas that hold, containers of water where very simple sea life still actually grows and thrives. And so in this time, like some aspect of your life that feels like the tide has gone out, that you have been kind of left to fend for yourself, you're struggling to thrive and survive in some way. It's like connect into some really simplistic aspects of yourself, because there's really interesting, unique things that actually thrive and develop in this kind of condition. And to also know that just as the tide goes out, it always comes back in, and that will happen. But while the tide is out, like what are these really simple things you can plug into that are really unique and colorful and interesting and really you? Like what is it that actually thrives in some kind of harsher, exposed, vulnerable conditions? There's actually a lot of color and a lot of interest and a lot of uniqueness that can kind of thrive and develop and come into being at this moment. But ultimately, the tide will come back in for you. So don't, have some patience there, have some knowing that this is temporary. Okay, let's get a Season of the Witch card. And I'm doing it specifically from the Mabon season, which is the kind of autumn, mid-autumn season, at least in the Celtic wheel. Just because that's the time of year this reading will come out. You don't have to watch it when it comes out. It doesn't matter when you come to this, but I also think, it's that season is the feminine, like really lives in the feminine direction of their spirit will, which is also where, that subconscious terrain really holds a lot of sway. So it makes sense, both because of when this is going to originally be released, but also just the nature of this reading. Witch's Rosary. Okay, 43. Okay, keywords: focus, concentration, intention, developing habits, trust. Craft your skills with intentions, repeated, a practice of magic powered by purpose. Your higher self chose this card because it represents the long road to success that guides you to remain focused and intentional. Your situation is not one that will gain immediate results, which makes sense in being kind of in an ebb moment, but is likely to be rewarding with patience and consistent effort. The way forward is to be practical, responsible, and committed to mundane tasks that aren't glamorous, but do provide security and stability. So maybe those simple things being plugged into to attend to right now is just like the mundane of your life, those everyday things that we like to attend to. What are the priorities around that? What is prioritized in your everyday? How can you practice that and make them beautiful and interesting and colorful to you? You will receive this card when you're ready to put in the hard work to see your goal through, although it does remind you to avoid perfectionism. Habits and skills take time to master, so don't take it too personally if you don't get it right at first. You may follow instructions step by step and find that still something is off. Remember that you can always start from the beginning, retracing your steps until you discover the source of the problem. This card also confirms that you're on the right path and should keep doing what you're doing. You may be frustrated if you're not seeing results, which is why this card has made its way to you. Spirit wants you to know that you have done nothing wrong, but must trust that your work will be rewarded with time. Yeah, so there may be this feeling of like the tide out. Conditions are hard to feel like you can thrive in or manifest in, but it's like a time to just like attend to those small details, really find some rhythms that feel nice and beautiful to you, and work on some skills in a way that, this is a time where you're being given time to practice, to work on something, to fill into that frustration of little by little progress. But it's a worthwhile, it's like when the tide comes in, it's going to want you to be more at a point where you're more mastered. So it's actually almost a benefit that the tide's out, because you have time to practice and gain that skill and gain that rhythm and gain that instinct around something that you're really wanting to kind of cultivate within you or about your life. And this is a time that in this current conditions, you can really get finicky about that and intricate and fine tune and refine and make it really interesting and colorful and understand what your priorities are. Yeah. Okay, let's get another kind of Celtic card. Shaman Spiral, awareness, practice, connection. Yeah, it does. It feels like a timeout. And now that I'm like really looking at this card too, you have the owl, which is a very, like it kind of has that energy of something that steps back and observes. And then this figure is in a kind of still meditative position. And then there's this awareness and connection that you feel from kind of being unplugged from the flow of, that flow time in the ebb and flow. And then the practice coming through. It's a time to kind of like practice something new, practice something you're trying to master that's like not totally refined in you yet. This time of feeling like there's, difficult conditions is actually the exact conditions that are allowing you to practice certain things, and to kind of step back as well and gain a certain awareness and a new connection to life. Okay, we're just going to get one tarot confirmation over each of these to finish the reading for just like any extra little context to come through from your subconscious. So we've got Justice. Oh, it's kind of cut off. Yeah, this is all about the balance of life. This is just confirmation that like when the tide comes in, there's actions and consequences for actions. So the actions you're taking now will reap the fair consequences. So if you really take the time to cultivate a new skill, gain a new kind of awareness in this time where you feel a little detached from the flow of life, when the flow does come in, it's going to equal the effort you put in right now. So there's a sense of justice and karma related to what it is you're, when I've been talking about all of this, like what comes up into your mind of like, what do I want to practice? What's like a new skill or kind of awareness that I want to practice? So the more you put into that, the more you're going to get out of it when the flow comes back, when the tide comes back in. Then we have reversed Page of Swords. And this is perfect because the Page of Swords is a very quick, impetuous individual. And so in reverse, it's like maybe that's kind of a natural mode for you. And so you feel like a little stuck because you're not feeling this ability to just like really charge forward, especially intellectually right now. But it's because you're being given some space and time right now to sit a little more still and gain a different quality of awareness through some stillness, through, practicing a little more stillness in your mind. Will actually strengthen it in a lot of ways. And then we've got 9 of Wands under the Shaman Spiral, which has a staff or, it looks a lot like these wands, the staff does from the shaman. Reflection. It's a time of reflection. You've been through a lot, I think. I think you've already worked really hard at certain kind of awarenesses and practices, and it's a beautiful time to kind of reflect and refine and fine tune. So maybe what is being brought up by your subconscious is something you're already good at, but like you're being given a chance to go to a new level here, to really level up, but it's requiring reflection, it's requiring some stillness, and it's requiring efforting in this refinement that might feel a little bit mundane and comes with like a little bit of impatience, but it's all going to be worth it when the tide comes back in. The effort you put into this will reap the same, the rewards will equal the effort. Okay, so that is the message coming up from your subconscious. I hope this resonated. If so, I always appreciate the like, share, subscribe, and definitely always grateful to see kind and thoughtful comments. And I will see you in future readings. I hope you have a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are. Right, see ya. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading, all about a message that your subconscious wants to bring up into awareness for you. So you guys picked this coral snake, which is the most, I think, the most venomous snake in North America. And it's, some people confuse it with another snake that has some red and black stripes, but this one has also yellow involved, which is that warning sign of a venomous thing, of danger. And so your subconscious is coming up to say, like, you're seeing some warning like some warning signs, you're seeing some red flags around something right now, and it's trying to, your subconscious is trying to help you see these, wants you to see these, wants you to understand that, just like really taking those warning signs to heart and using those to engage in some prevention versus having to go through a bit of a bite and then having to, find a cure and do some healing. It's like a much more efficient thing to really take note, take heed of some warning signs, and use that as a preventative tool to having to do a whole bunch of unpleasantness in detangling from something down the road, healing from something down the road. Also, this thing of like, right now maybe isn't the time to confront something that maybe feels attacking. Sometimes just taking care of ourselves and removing ourselves is the key step. So whatever resonates for you there, is there something you're feeling a bit reactionary toward that you're wanting to kind of attack back, that's kind of attacking you? And is it maybe a better time to just remove yourself from a situation? Or are there some warning signs coming up for you around something that you've started to kind of wonder if that's a warning sign? It is. And it's time to remove yourself from whatever that warning is around. Okay, we are also going to get a little more context from the Season of the Witch deck. From the one of the autumn, it's from Mabon, which is in autumn season, which is kind of where the feminine principle is deeply connected, and hence where kind of our subconscious lives. So we've got apple of my eye. Not all that's alluring may be what it seems. See beyond the illusion. So yeah, is there something that gives more context? Is there something a little bit alluring to you, but that you've also felt a little danger around? Some red flags around? Something isn't quite as it appears, and your subconscious is trying to flash the warning signs of like, hey, steer clear, this isn't how it seems. Keywords: mindfulness, being careful, being present and aware. Your higher self chooses this card because there's often an expectation that transformation will happen with a big bang. One day you'll wake up and be completely different from how you were yesterday, or some dramatic event will happen that causes your whole life to renew itself. Transformation is usually sparked by dramatic life change, but a spark only represents potential. You still have to take that spark and nourish it before it becomes a raging fire that burns through your life. Mindfulness is the best way to begin forming habits that lead to dramatic results. For example, you may need to find more awareness around poor eating or money habits. So maybe it's your own habits you're getting warning signs from. You may need to be more present in your career if you're looking to advance. Perhaps you need to be more mindful about the ways you've given away your power. Maybe you allow others to speak to you negatively, or you find yourself giving a lot more than you get in return. Once you're mindful of where you need change, you won't be able to unlearn this information, and each moment of awareness will become an opportunity to make a new choice. You can continue to make the same choices that have kept you where you are, or you can decide to do something different and begin to move in new directions, taking one tiny step at a time. Yeah, I mean, there's many things in that to draw from. I won't go back over all of them, but these warnings could be your own habits. These warnings could be around giving your power away. These warnings could be about just certain awareness of like better ways to advance in certain things. Whereas like maybe the thing you're looking at right now that seems alluring isn't quite what it seems. Whatever you feel like there's some warning signs around, it's just like time to, step back from that and think more carefully about, be more aware of like a better route, a better plan, a better whatever. Okay, we're going to pick another oracle card from another Celtic deck. Just a little more context. The Herbalist, herbs, medicine, healing. I do get the sense for a lot of you that whatever's being brought up here may connect to, and this card did talk about this, like doing things in the same way over and over, only get the same results over and over. And I think that's something important in this reading. I think and I think there's been some wounds due to having a pattern that keeps repeating, that you've had to heal from over and over again. But it's like your subconscious is like, you're so close to getting the warning signs with this, of like knowing how to see those warning signs and avoiding that pattern. You're like right on the precipice. Pay attention to these warning signs. There are precursors to the way this pattern starts to unfold, and if you see them early enough, you can avoid them. And once you see those warning signs, once you know how to see those warning signs, you will never repeat that pattern again. You'll know it. And I feel like this is your subconscious saying you're so close to understanding those precursor signs to continuing a cycle of some pattern that has continually hurt you. And it may be around being like seduced by something too easily. Maybe it's seduced in relationships, seduced in career things, seduced in friendships, seduced in whatever it is for you. Yeah, eating habits, trusting certain things or people, yeah, it's like you're right on the cusp of getting this, to breaking this pattern cycle. And if you can start to see those warning signs with this one, you'll always see them in the future. They're present right now, so pay attention. And once you see them, you'll never unsee them. You'll always have that new knowing. Okay, let's get a confirmation tarot card for each of these. We've got the Magician in reverse. This feels like giving your power away in some way. This feels like believing that you don't have the faculties or resources to manifest what you want in your life, and like looking, like depending on others for that manifestation. But when you do that, you kind of give your own your power away, and any kind of control over how something manifests away. So you need to like believe in your own power. The Emperor reversed. Yeah, giving away your power. Again, giving away your authority, giving away your power because you feel seduced by thinking others can do it better. But you need to trust that, oh, your last card fell to the ground. You need to trust that you're more capable and more powerful than you realize, and you just like need to see this. This is so much about owning your own power, owning your own ability to make things happen in your life, trusting that you can do that for yourself. And then the last one, we've got the King of Cups in reverse, which relates to the kind of healing you've had to do a lot of. Yeah, trusting the power and authority of your own emotions, and trusting that you know how to hold command in spaces, hold compassionate command in your life with others and spaces. Like you have an enormous well of compassionate and emotional authority and command. And an emotional, you know, actually like a very powerful healer energy in general. And it's like you're giving that power away, or you're not connecting it, not feeling like you have that power. But there's something about, if you can see certain warning signs right now, you're gonna get it, and all of these are gonna flip right side up. And then you'll feel like a magician and an emperor and a King of Cups. And you'll feel like you have this commanding, healing, compassionate authority, an ability to direct your own life and to manifest things through your own faculties and resources. It's what's trying to come through here. So like, what are these warning signs you're seeing of like how do you flip these upside down? How do you give these away? There's warning signs about how that happens all around you right now. So pay attention. They're like flashing at you. Okay, so this is where I'm going to leave you guys. I hope it resonated, and definitely trust in you. You can get this. You can get, like, really know how to step into your power and own your power. There's something you're about to get right now of like how you sabotage that. All right, if this resonated, I always appreciate the like, share, subscribe stuff, and definitely always grateful to see kind and thoughtful comments. All right, I will see you in future readings, and I hope you have a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading all about a message that your subconscious wants to bring up to your awareness. So you guys got Mountain Lion, and it feels like a very clear message coming through here. So my guess is this reading is going to go quite quickly. It was just like, a message, just like really clear and simple message came through. And so I don't feel like I need to expand too much. There is something that you are trying to be patient on and maybe questioning when the right time is to pounce. And this is saying, not yet, be patient, and you will know the moment. Trust in yourself that you'll know the moment to pounce. And this is around something about your sense of command and your sense of leadership. I really feel that strongly, something about your sense of leadership. You will know the right timing to kind of really jump in as a leader around something. Conditions aren't quite right, but know that you'll know the moment. Trust in yourself. And that said, also, it's a great time to draw some boundaries around you to give you some space so that you can have that extra calm and awareness that you need to, key into that right timing. So if there's something about leadership, command, that does already come to mind, when it comes to that, really create some stillness and space for yourself to observe what's going on. If you don't quite know what this is about yet, just know that it's a time to draw some good boundaries around yourself and to get back into your own energy and what you need for you. And something's going to come up for you around this. And when it does, you will also know the right timing of when this should be kind of pounced on. Okay, we are going to draw an oracle card to get a little more context from the season of the witch, specifically from its Mabon season. I don't know if it's Mabon or Mabon. I don't know exactly how it's pronounced, but it's kind of like high autumn time, which connects into the west of the Celtic wheel where the feminine principle lives. Hence, deep intuitive ability as well, which is, yes, intuitive, but also like the unconscious definitely kind of has a lot of association there. So that's why I picked this as well, as it kind of originally coming out in the autumn. Queen of the Dead, interesting. Says, fear not the rage of fire living within, for it is the power of your fierceness waiting to taste you fully. Yeah, something fierce waiting to come out of you to take command of something, but it's like, wait for the right moment. Let's read a little more from the guidebook for this. So keywords: embracing your dark side, naughtiness, using darkness for good. Your higher self chose this card because you need to learn to be unafraid of your soul's darker, naughtier side. There is a deep power within you that you may feel would be scary or too much to handle if you unleashed it. So maybe that's where you're needing to sit in some stillness, and where some questions may be for you is like whatever you're feeling you want to unleash in terms of like leadership and command is like coming from sort of a darker space, a more ferocious space, which is the feminine principle. And so that could even be maybe you have some creative things you want to unleash from inside of you that feel a little darker, so you're like, oh, should I this, and this is saying, yeah, it's time to kind of embrace this a little bit. Perhaps you fear what you might become if you were seduced by the shadowy aspect of your spirit. Would you become too ambitious and power hungry, or sacrifice your benefits in pursuit of fame and fortune? Would you hurt people or forget your roots? Would you succumb to anger and find yourself difficult to get along with? These are all noteworthy fears, but they shouldn't prevent you from integrating both sides of your spiritual being. Queen of the Dead is tempting you to explore and use darkness for good. Rage, ambition, jealousy, and manipulation can be channeled for a good cause. Those can all be channeled into like story or art or poetry, you know, like things that express and walk into the darker aspects of life and explore them. And, you know, there's ways to channel that are actually very enriching and interesting and beautiful. Rather than viewing them as being bad, see them as opportunities for evolution and growth. These energies to be useful, and your willingness to work with rather than against your demons is key for showing them the way to the light. Yeah, sometimes there's things we have to walk through inside of us instead of like spiritual bypassing, like, no, just think positively and just do good and do, you know, like sometimes there's shadows within us that if we don't walk through them, they only kind of ooze out in subconscious weird ways. And so sometimes we have to go into our darker side and go through it and confront them and see what's down there. And I think a really beautiful way of doing that is through art. You may have other ways in which you want to do that, but there may be some sort of like, you know, step up to the plate, take some command, take some leadership, take the reins of going into your darkness, and you'll know the moment. I think some inspiration will hit of like how to do this, and that's when you pounce. It's when you find that outlet to do this in a way that's productive and for good and for you know, deeper understanding and integration of things within you. Okay, let's get a Celtic wisdom card for a little more depth. Standing stones, ancestors, gateways, sacred. Yeah, I think you're maybe there's some ancestral trauma you need to go into that has some darkness in it. Or maybe your ancestors are helping to open some gateways, some portals for you to go into some lower worlds in a protected way, to explore certain things that are under the surface. I do feel a sense of protection here, like your ancestors are either protecting you because they need you to do this work for your line, or they're protecting you in order to do this work for yourself. Even if it's for your line, it's still also for yourself. But there is some protection around you and some portals being open for you to do this in a safe way right now. And that's maybe that, you know, that sign, that patience of knowing the right timing. There's something about like a portal opening, ancestral something coming to the surface that will also help bring awareness to that timing, that time to pounce on this. Okay, we're gonna get a couple of tarot cards, one for each of these as a confirmation and more context. So Temperance. Yeah, when you feel another sign of what, like right timing to jump into this is when you feel your external life is very, like you're holding and handling things very well. Things are flowing very easily. There's something about that then gives you that space to kind of go into the darkness because things on the outside of you are flowing well. That's also a sign of like that right timing. So 7 of Wands. I don't know why this feels to me like aspects of yourself battling this darker aspect. And And so that darker part of you feeling kind of a little afraid to come out because there's other sides of you that are like, no. But just know that that darker side of you is coming into its power, and those other voices, those other aspects inside of you, you know, even though they may be speaking up within you, they don't match the power of what that dark side knows it needs to do. So it will get past that hurdle of other voices in you kind of trying to warn you off of it. You'll know it's right. And then we've got 5 of Swords. This feels like ancestral work. It's not just for you, it's for your whole ancestral line, to help bring a little bit more peace and yeah, maybe there's something in your ancestral line where there's always like engaged in fights, engaged in life as feeling like a battle that needs to be worked through. It's like inherited, it's deeply within your ancestry. And there's something here that's ready to be let go of in that regard. That this going into the darkness will help you to kind of see, witness, come to terms with, and release for your ancestral line. Yeah, all right, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. This is very interesting reading. Definitely went places I didn't expect from the initial, you know, I got this very like clear message, but then it like really went other places too. So anyway, if this resonated, I always appreciate the things like, share, subscribe, and definitely always appreciate kind and thoughtful comments as well. Yeah, I will see you in future readings, and I hope you have a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are. All right, see you guys. Hello, Pile 4. Welcome to your reading all about a subconscious message that wants to come up and into your awareness. So you guys picked the Moonstone as kind of the kickoff card, kickoff energy of where we're going with this reading. So this is all about really being plugged into your inner knowing, your intuition right now. And to really trust that you have a really beautiful, calming, soothing, healing inner guidance within you at the moment, to trust where your inner self is telling you to go and inner knowings that come to you. And especially Moonstone has a lot to do with helping to soothe and bring some healing to like grief and losses. So your subconscious may want to, is I think trying to tell you that you are in a moment where, you know, grief comes in waves. It never totally disappears. But you're coming into a moment of really kind of getting over a huge hurdle in something that you've been holding a lot of grief for. And your inner guidance right now is in a very beautiful healing space, and it knows exactly how to get you over the hump with this into a space where you can start seeing more places to put your heart and love. And, you know, like grief is like love that has nowhere to go. But I think your intuition is ready to start leading you, or like your energy is coming into a place that your intuition is sensing you can start building new things, seeing new things in life, going forward in new things where you start to build things to put love into, not that takes the place of, but that just helps to alleviate some of that grief pressure. So there, I think that, yeah, you're into, like, trust your intuition and inner knowing if it's trying to lead you to new things to love, new things to be interested in, new things that may like bring up guilt for distracting you or taking some energy away from things you've been grieving, with feelings of love and eagerness and happiness and joy. Sort of like your subconscious is like, the time is right though. It's time to get on with some things and to start seeing new places to put some love, and just trust your intuition, because it's in a really beautiful, healing, wise place right now, and it will steer you correctly and gently. Okay, and if you don't know what that is, oftentimes we hold grief from things from forever ago, and it just comes up out of nowhere, and so that may be something, if this doesn't resonate as something really obvious, there may be something that's coming up in the next little bit that stirs up some old grief, and you're coming into a new layer of healing that grief. Okay, let's get, wrong deck. We're going to get an oracle card from the season of the witch, from the Mabon season, which is the autumn, kind of the height of autumn in the Celtic will, at least, and holds a lot of that feminine energy where intuition and unconscious lie. Corn maze. Although your path is unclear, it is there waiting for your faith to lead you. And I love that, because sometimes when we are moving through some grief, things do feel unclear. Our path ahead does feel unclear. So I like this coming through. So some keywords: compromising beliefs, falling off the path, getting lost, authenticity. Your higher self chose this card because life is a lot like going through a corn maze. It's a series of choices that will either lead you to freedom manifested in feelings of joy, success, feeling loved and supported, or choices that lead to feeling stuck, stagnant, confused, and lost. And I think that's where we're at. It's time to make choices that lead you out of that kind of stagnant energy and towards things where you connect again to a little bit more joy. The next choice is always a flip of the coin and will bring you closer or further away from your desired outcome. Just like a corn maze, you don't get a map or chance to plot the way before going in, but you do have a built-in guide in the form of your inner self. And like I said, your intuition is really on point right now, which knows exactly the way to go. Yeah, I already said that. Trust your intuition will guide you where you need to go, when you turn and when you head back and start again. Your inner self speaks to you through your beliefs and feelings, and speaks to you now through this card, letting you know you have been going in the wrong direction. If you're inquiring about a future decision, receiving this card is a definitive no. This is not the path to take. Instead, you are being asked to go back and start from the beginning. What are your values and core beliefs? What are you hoping to gain from this situation, or who are you attempting to become? Have your choices supported future versions of yourself in your life? Finally, where have you compromised your life's vision in pursuit of goals and expectations that belong to someone else? And grief can come from that, from having followed someone else's map for us, and recognizing we've lost ourselves in that. That can definitely, grief can come from, it doesn't have to be this like clear, obvious loss. It can be from things that are a little complicated and fuzzy. Corn Maze offers a final message. There is more than one way to achieve a goal. The path you are on now is not the way, and there may be another path that is much better suited to you. To find this path, take time to find out who you truly are now and who you're becoming. Then your inner self will have what it needs to take you from point A to point B. I love that for you guys. So something about the grief coming up, having kind of led you down a path that's a little bit away from you, away from your intuition, your inner knowing, yourself, but it's coming back on. That intuition is like plugging back in, really coming into a power. And so you just need to trust those inner knowings that are coming, because they're going to get you back on course for some area where you've been a little off course. or you've gotten a little bit lost, and that's created a little bit of grief in your life. Okay, one more oracle card from a Celtic oracle. Peace Walker. Ooh, beautiful. Peace, gentle, forward. Yes, you're about to go forward in life, and the way forward is through gentleness, through coming to peace with yourself and trusting those inner knowings that are coming. They are guiding you correctly. So don't listen to the outside right now. Inner self, it's leading you. Inner knowings know the way for you right now. Okay, we, to end this, are going to get a tarot confirmation card for each of these, just for a little extra deeper layer of context. Ooh. Okay, we've got King of Swords. Yeah, exactly. Authority in your mental command of where you want to go is on par right now, and it will bring some healing. It will get you back on track. Trust your mental acuity at the moment. It is really strong. Don't give your power away at all. Corn maze, the Fool upside down. Yeah, you've been kind of meandering and lost. So the King, your inner knowings are coming to help get you back into a new start. It's like you've been looking for a new start, but you haven't been able to spark anything. You've kind of been just wandering in potential and not feeling like anything's worth leaping towards, or maybe you've leaped towards something and fallen because they weren't from your inner knowing, they were from some external source. But yeah, it's coming, your inner knowing is coming on strong right now, and it will get you back on course to have that new start, a fresh slate. Okay. Ah, a lot of cards are wanting to come out there. It makes me feel like something's coming fast. And Wheel of Fortune, yeah. You're about to get back on the right path. You're about to get back on track, and it's going to turn your life around. Trust yourself, trust your inner knowings, trust your mind, trust your authority. Yeah, it will lead you in the right way, and it will feel gentle, and it will feel like you're going forward, and you will feel at peace with it. So if it doesn't feel that way, check back into yourself and say, ask if something else is influencing you. If it doesn't feel like a gentle, peaceful, forward movement, check back in with yourself, because it should feel very easy and peaceful and gentle for you to move. Like, just the best news ever. Like, you're getting back on track and things are turning around, and it's not because you're forcing it or putting all this assertive, aggressive energy. It's because you're just trusting yourself, and because of that, everything is easy. It's a very easy turnaround, but you do have to trust yourself in order to get there. And I love with the Peace Walker, these kind of branches growing out of it, which feel like antennas. Like, listen to the signs. There's a lot of signs coming through. I think synchronicities, things like repeating numbers, double numbers, are all signs, like confirmations for you of like, yeah, you're on the right track kind of thing. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave you guys. If this resonated, I always appreciate the things, like, share, subscribe, and definitely always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments. That extra human touch is nice to feel. All right, I hope to see you in future readings, and I wish you a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are.